I forgot about the show. I was working on an app and just forgot completely about the show. So, my apologies. I look up, it's 5:01. What the hell? Hey, it's your good friend, it's your pal, it's your compadre, it's TC. Everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the big show. This is Rock This Town Live. We are here every Monday through Friday. That's right, every Monday through Friday. Oh my God, that's so sexy. Very nice. Starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is 7 Central and 5 if you're on the West Coast of America. And it is still hotter than hell here in Phoenix. So I got that going for me, which is not good. But, it is what it is. So, and the background didn't change. Damn it. But, hey, life gets busy and we'll get it changed here shortly. So, what's going on in the big show today? We're going to relive the past, baby. I love a little Motley Crue because who doesn't love Motley Crue? Motley Crue is sexy. And a little Faster Pussycat to go with little Motley Crue. So it will be nice. Thy will be done. That's right. Also, talking to Aerosmith today, Cinderella and Journey. Okay, very cool. And then as far as the top 5, I've got Cinderella, baby. Cinda effin'-rella, man. I love it. If I've got the top 5 songs from Cinderella, this was actually pretty tough. They've only got 4 records, if you can believe that. Cinderella only put out 4 records. They were just and done. And yeah, so we'll talk about their top 5 songs. I didn't put anything from Heartbreak Station on it, and I'm kind of devastated that I didn't, but we'll see. Anyways, and then we'll talk about some new vinyl releases, announcements, actually. Mother Love Bone. Yeah, if you're a Mother Love Bone fan, Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam. That actually got put up on Pearl Jam's site today. There's going to be an indie exclusive version, so very nice. Sorry, a little itch there. And then we'll talk about some concert announcements. And my vinyl of the day is let me actually take it out of the cover there. I'm sure you can figure it out from the back. Pretty obvious record there. That is an OG from 1987. So there you go. All right, let's get the party started. Where am I starting here? Oh, I like to relive the past. This is what I like to do because reliving the past is a good thing. Sometimes you got to remember the past so you don't repeat the future. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind repeating this past because come on. Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood tour. I did not see these guys on the Dr. Feelgood tour. I'm going to move that a little bit. Did not see these guys on the Dr. Feelgood tour. I saw them on the Girls tour in 87, but in 89 and 90, I was unable to see them. Now, apparently, I was doing some research. Skid Row opened for Motley Crue on the Dr. Feelgood tour. Okay, that's a pretty good double bill. Well, maybe not a double bill. Motley Crue, obviously the headliner there, but still not too shabby, especially with Sebastian still in the band. Very nice. Tesla also opened some shows. Ooh, baby. I love myself some Tesla. Tesla is like a nice car or a good. Oh, by the way, speaking of Tesla, I got to say something. There was a Christopher Nolan movie called The Prestige about Nikola Tesla and actually two magicians. I can't talk. Magicians. And the story is who's in that? Michael Caine, of course, is in it because it's a Christopher Nolan movie. But you've got Hugh. What was that guy's name? Can't remember his name now. The Prestige. There it is. I'm going to find it here. Came out almost 20 years ago. It's a great movie. Who's in it? Oh, of course, it's got Hugh Jackman in it. That's who I was thinking of, Hugh. And then Christian Bale. Also, Scarlett Johansson's in it. And then, of course, Michael Caine and David Bowie plays Nikola Tesla, I should say. So, anyways, a great movie if you get a chance to see it. I highly recommend it. So, seeing Motley Crue and Tesla would have been pretty sweet. Now, this show was actually faster. Well, this show was Tesla. There was another, when they played Minneapolis, my old stomping grounds up in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, they actually had Faster Pussycat in tow. But in this one, Nikola Tesla, well, not Nikola Tesla, the band Tesla. So, you get the idea. So, but a great show and a hell of a tour. And that was kind of the end of Motley Crue in some ways because things kind of went sideways after that. Obviously, Bob Rock, who had produced Dr. Feelgood, went on to work with our friends in Metallica and did the Black Album and then Load and Reload. And Motley Crue just kind of like, they kind of lingered, like they were like Natalie Merchant song. You have to let it linger. Is that Natalie Merchant? I think that's Natalie Merchant. So let me Let me see what record came after Dr. Feelgood. I'm thinking it was like the greatest hits record, wasn't it? And then the Motley Crue 94. Am I crazy? Decade of Decadence came out. Okay. That makes sense. And then, yeah, so the Decadence had Primal Scream on it, which kind of set the stage for what that record in 94 was going to sound like. And then, of course, Vince left, did his own record, which is actually a really good record. And then Motley Crue, of course, did the album with John Corabi, which has never been reissued on vinyl, which is a really expensive record if you can find that. Obviously, there's fake versions floating around out there because it's such an expensive record. But if you want an OG, man, you're paying, $500, $800 for that bad boy. So, but there you go. I digress. So anyways, a very cool tour. Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm going to see if anybody else joined us in the chat that I want to say hello to. Jenny, how you doing, Jenny? Love Jenny. Greg, good to see you, Greg. It's been a while. Also, I should say shout out to our friend George. If you happen to be tuning in, George has had some health issues recently. So I'm glad that he's on the mend, but our George, probably one of the most generous people I've ever met in my life, from the live show that we did, has had some issues. So George, thoughts and prayers, good vibes out to you there. Dylan hanging out, love Dylan. Dylan, one of our local favorites, and Richard, of course. Richard is the man, and then Santiago hanging out as well. They fired Vince, and that was all downhill from there. I don't know. I like the 94 record with John Corabi. And come on, Motley Crue had their 7-year run. And most bands, they're really popular for 7 years if they're lucky. And then they just kind of become a legacy artist. And that's the way it goes. So I don't know. Saints of Los Angeles, I thought, was a pretty decent record. So there you go. All right, let's get to some news today, as I want to talk about Aerosmith, baby. Joe Perry recently said there's a possibility of another Aerosmith concert. At some point, we will all be together on stage at the same time. Does that mean like an awards thing or actually performing? Now, I know that Steven Tyler's had vocal issues, and however, things kind of, are like, well, Steven, maybe you can do it. Because did you see him at the Black Sabbath celebration 3 weeks ago now? I guess almost coming up on 4 weeks. He sounded amazing. He was fantastic. I thought he was great. And actually, seeing that performance has made me get into Aerosmith more. I know that Jen is a big fan of Aerosmith. She loves Aerosmith. Some of the ballads and the 90s and stuff was a little bit too much for me, but you get into that old catalog, you get into the stuff even from the recent records they've done, and they've only probably done 4 records in the last 30 years or so, but still very good stuff. I love it. Now, would it be so bad in 2027 maybe that if Aerosmith hadn't been on stage, if they did kind of like a Black Sabbath thing, or even in 2026, where all the guys get up, Joey Kramer comes back to the band since Joey's basically retired, because obviously a drummer, it's hard on a drummer, it's hard on a singer. And then they kind of do a celebration, an Aerosmith celebration. I think a lot of musicians would come out for that because a lot of people love Aerosmith. I love Aerosmith. And so there you go. Just an idea. Potentially, there's so many artists we could do that with. And these have the original 5 guys still remaining. Now, we could talk about an AC/DC one, but Malcolm's gone. So is it really worth it doing something for AC/DC? But maybe it is Van Halen, but Eddie's gone. And it's just like, if we're going to do this, maybe we do it with, but I mean, on the other side of the coin, Led Zeppelin, would I like to see those 3 guys get back together one last time? Of course. Same with Queen, bringing back John Deacon, but we've already, I guess had the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, so I guess that's probably not necessary at this point, and John would probably say the same thing there. So anyways, I would love to see an Aerosmith in 2026 or 2027 if they're not going to tour anymore, kind of a one-off thing like Black Sabbath did. I think it would be amazing, and then knock on wood, everybody still stays healthy after that. Journey. Man, this is Dysfunction 101. Speaking of a band that we could bring back together, the classic lineup. Okay, you could bring back Greg Rowley. I've got no problem bringing back Greg Rowley, but bring back the classic lineup of Scott's. Is it, no, what's the classic lineup? Steve Smith, Ross Valerie, Steve Perry, of course, Neil Schon, Jonathan Cain, and we'll put in obviously Greg Rowley because he sang on a couple of those songs and was in the band for a while before being replaced by Jonathan Cain. So I would love to see like a Journey celebration, but dysfunction rules the day, unfortunately. And Neil Schon has now posted this cryptic photo on social media about Journey Beyond. Some people thinking it's a new band that he's going to come out with because Arnell it sounds like Arnell might be done. He's been doing the Journey thing for 25 years. So, but yeah, Journey last played back on April 24th. I didn't think they had actually played this year, but apparently they have. So at Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland. So I don't know. Journey's one of those bands, man. They're a huge band, and having a one last show, come on. That would be amazing. Now, I'm guessing that Neil is still a pretty young guy. I mean, he's in his, late 60s only, because he hit the scene. He was like 15 when he was in Santana with Carlos Santana. So, but yeah, that would be so cool. There's so many bands like that I would love a celebration for, like a one-off, even if they continue on. I don't care if Journey goes back out on the road with a different singer and Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain maybe still in the band. Just get the band back together for a Journey celebration. We could do this stuff every year. It would be great. It would be awesome. It would be like screw you to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, since we can't. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is dysfunction anyways as well. So there you go. One other reunion bit. Eric Brittingham, Fred Curry are open to a Cinderella one-off concert. Okay. Now, of course, Jeff LaBar passed away 3 years ago now. I can't believe it's been 3 years. He was 58 at the time when he passed away. So, and then their keyboardist died shortly thereafter, though the keyboardist, I think, was never kind of fully in the band, as they say. But anyways, I digress. So, yeah, Cinderella, Journey, Aerosmith. I'm bringing back the past. I'm actually just reliving the past here. I love new music as well, but there's just not a lot of. Well, I guess there is good rock music. It just doesn't get played on the radio. It doesn't get played in a lot of places. But yeah, we had it good in the 80s, man. I'm not going to lie to you, man. The 80s were the piece de resistance. So yes, I would love to see Fred, Eric, and Tom Kiefer. It obviously boils down to Tom Kiefer because Tom Kiefer, the man, he's been out there with Tom Kiefer Band, but doing one Cinderella show would be fun, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I just don't see Tom doing it. Speaking of the 80s, I saw Janie Lane has now been gone for 14 years, I believe. I actually talked to Janie Lane. What year was that? I don't even remember. Maybe around 2002. He passed away in 2011. Of course, Janie Lane, the lead singer of Warrant. Really nice guy. Really nice guy when I talked to him. So I've talked to a few people in my past, like Janie Lane, and he was a super cool guy. So there you go. Not too shabby, as they say. Let me check the chat again, see if there's anything that's inappropriate in here. But hey, Brandon, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, there you go. Yes, I'm finally into Aerosmith, Jen. It is a wunderbar. The first four records are must-haves. I guess I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. But I've never really explored that back catalog. I've listened to more of the 80s and the 90s and even the 2000 stuff. I really like the stuff. All due respect to Joe Perry, because Joe admits that it was a good album that they did. But when Joe was out of the band in Aerosmith, some of those records are pretty good, So, but it's cool. Actually, Joe Perry, and they just announced, so Joe Perry is out on tour right now with two of the guys from Stone Temple Pilots doing the rhythm section. And then I think it's Bradley Whitford. Yeah, Bradley Whitford is playing. And then I forget the keyboard guy in Aerosmith. Buck Johnson. I think it's Buck Johnson. So those five guys are out there with Chris Black Crowes guy. Not Chris Rawlings. Why can't I think of his last name? Chris Robinson. Thank you. Chris Robinson on vocals. And I see they're going to actually be playing Phoenix, Jen. So they're actually doing Wild Horse Pass Casino. So and they're actually breaking out some old Aerosmith, and yeah, that might be fun. So, and you say that's a great venue, Jen. So there you go. Dylan also loves Aerosmith. Very nice, very nice. Don't begrudge them in the 90s stuff. They had to make some money. Gregory Roberts says they were all flat broke. Indeed. What a singer in the 70s and 80s still sounds the same, and they're all up in that age. Yeah, that's true. Steven Tyler is amazing. He is fantastic. When it comes to Journey, Steve Smith, yeah, Ross, Valerie, Greg, Neil, and Steve Perry. Boom. Let's see. Santiago says Journey Beyond is Neil and Greg thing. Oh, or was that the there was something else that Neil announced like a couple of years ago that had Greg Rowland in as well, and it had a Journey name, but I don't remember the actual name. It was something like, it wasn't Journey Beyond. It was like, I don't know, Journey into the Past. Who knows? So there you go. Ooh, Gregory says something. Yeah, that would be amazing. Steven Adler and Izzy, the original 5 guys back in Guns N' Roses for a one-off. See, this is something that, I don't know, maybe we should organize. One-off concerts, one a year, where we get the original band back together if they're still alive. You know, that classic lineup. So there's certain bands that you just never be able to do it for, you know? But there are other bands that we could do it for, like Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses. All those guys are still with us. So there you go. Janie Lane, yeah, definitely one of the best. And yeah, Joe Perry coming up, and Bryan Adams tickets, $10.50 back in the day. Oh, Journey Through Time, that's what it was. Thank you, Santiago. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, cool. Cinderella. Let me get to the Cinderella. So these are my top 5 Cinderella songs. So I'm amazed that the records, Night Songs, Long Cold Winter, Heartbreak Station, and finally Still Climbing, those are their only 4 records. Now there is some like live stuff that they've put out on vinyl in Europe back in like the 90s and stuff, but it's hard to find. I know we had a couple of those that our friend T-Rex gobbled up back in the day of the live show, but these are my favorite Cinderella songs, and I've got nothing from from Heartbreak Station on the record on this list, and I feel bad for that because that's a really good record. It becomes even more bluesy. At number 5, I love Coming Home. It's just so good, and it reminds me of that fake movie Coming Home in a Body Bag from the movie True Romance, directed by Tony Scott, written by Quentin Tarantino, with starring, what was that? True Romance. That was Christian Slater and one of the Arquettes. I forget which Arquette it was, but not David. It wasn't David. But anyways, that's a fun movie. Gypsy Road, Can't Take Me Home. Love that song. Somebody Save Me. I love that song. I love the way that song jams, that song riffs. I don't know. Do you got a favorite Cinderella song? The Last Mile, once again. You know, a lot of that stuff off of Long Cold Winter almost had that kind of ballady feel, but it wasn't ballady. It was very up-tempo. And when Tom Kiefer wrote, he wrote a lot. You can tell on the acoustic guitar, and that's kind of what plays out there, especially on the last 3 records in some ways, even though they can kick ass when they need to. They can turn it up, baby. Jeff LaBarque and that amp, and Eric can boom, boom, boom the bass, and Fred can pound those skins. Anyways, Last Mile, number 2 on my list for Long Cold Winter, baby. So 3 songs from Long Cold Winter. And then number 1 for Cinderella, just because I love the video. When it starts, Tom Kiefer's walking into like this soundstage, and he like, I don't know, hands off something, and he does this. It's so cheesy, but it's so awesome at the same time. I love it. So anyways, I got Nobody's Fool at number 1. And Jeff LaBarre, rest in peace, buddy. He's got some moves in that video, man. He's dropping some rock moves in that video. So I do appreciate that as well. So there you go. Bad Seamstress Blues, Greg says. That is a great song. That is a wonderful song. And I know Jen was, what was it? There's another one that Jen, like Bad Seamstress Blues. That's Still Climbing, if I remember right. So there you go. And Raymond, hey Raymond, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, exactly. Everybody was in. Oh, Greg. Well, I picked the right time to drop in a Quentin Tarantino reference because Greg and I are brothers from another mother when it comes to Tarantino. Mister Vic Vega and Mister Vincent Vega in the house tonight. So there you go. Yeah, Christian Slater, Arquette, Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper, Tom Sizemore, Chris Penn. Love Chris Penn. Jimmy Gandolfini, Brad Pitt, Gary Oldman. He must have thought it was White Boy Day. Sam Jackson as well. I won't get into what Sam Jackson's famous line from that movie is. It's a little blue. So there you go. All right, cool. And then Brandon mentions Poison in the works for all original. Oh, yeah, exactly. 1986. Look what the cat dragged in. 40th anniversary next year, baby. We're going to make it happen. Now, I don't know if you guys are into Mother Love Bone. I know of Mother Love Bone, but I also know that record is like insanely expensive. It's like $500 to get a legit copy from 1990. What's funny about this, the hype sticker says it's the 25th anniversary. Somebody doesn't know how to use their toes and fingers because it's actually the 35th anniversary when it comes to this. So that hype sticker's wrong, but this is the indie exclusive coming out September 26th for about $30. It is Apple by Mother Love Bone, starring Jeff Ament and also Stone Gossard of Pearl Jam fame. And actually, it was Pearl Jam that announced this. So I thought that was pretty freaking cool in my mind, that we're getting some of these OG releases that haven't seen the light of day. And now they've been faked a million times. There's like 11 different versions of fake variants where they take the CD, they burn the CD, and then they put out a version in Europe and they call it an unofficial European release. I mean, it's a fake record and it's a filler. I get it if you want to like your Mother Love Bone collection, you're like, I ain't going to pay $500 for an OG copy that came out in the US back in 1990. I'll just get this fake version for $40. Well, I guess now, unfortunately, you paid $40, but you had it in your collection. Now it's worthless because those fake records tend to be worthless. And especially if you do a Pepsi challenge on the sound of them, like comparing this version fully remastered to like a fake version out there of Apple by Mother Love Bone, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that one's crap. That one's crap, man. It's crap. Anyway, so I digress. But Mother Love Bone coming out, Apple, first time in 35 years. It'll be about $30. And at the same time, the same day, they're releasing the EP of Shine. And that's also going to be $30. It's only 4 songs. But okay, I don't understand that one, but okay. That's going to be on blue vinyl. That is an indie exclusive as well. There's different color variants. Pearl Jam has a couple variants on the color, and there's the indie exclusives. And I think that's it. I think that's what I love about Pearl Jam. I got to hand it to Eddie Vedder and the guys. I'm not the biggest fan of Pearl Jam. Those you turn on Animal by Pearl Jam, and I'm into it, baby, because that song cooks. But Pearl Jam, unlike so many of these other crappy bands out there that with their Walmart versions, I'm not looking at you, Lars. I'm not looking at you. I mean, not Lars. I didn't say Lars aloud, did I? But anyways, a lot of these bands are selling out to like Walmart or Target or whatever, blah, 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 as where Pearl Jam will always give their love to independent record stores. So I appreciate that greatly, having had an independent record store. Now, it is what it is with everybody else. I get it, but I like to stand up and hold up, even though I'm maybe not the biggest Pearl Jam fan as mentioned, but I like to stand up and say Pearl Jam is fantastic because they support independent record stores. So there you go. I digress on that. While I'm at it, here's a Target exclusive. A Target exclusive. This is a Candy Cane Elf coming out. When does this come out? On October 10th. For $27. So if you're a big fan of the movie, though what's funny is Zoe Deschanel sings obviously in the movie, Baby It's Cold Outside, but there is no Zoe Deschanel on the record. But a lot of other classic Christmas songs, including Leon Redbone doing Baby It's Cold Outside. So yeah, I think that still works. That's a good movie. I would argue. So I never cared for Ron Burgundy, Anchorman or whatever it's called, Anchorman, the Ron Burgundy story. I would argue that Will Ferrell is a great supporting actor, but he can't really carry a movie. But he did carry Elf, and I know some people would be like, "What are you talking about? You're a fool." Legend of Ron Burgundy. I love Lamp. Are you kidding me? See, I need to go back and watch that movie, but from from everything I've seen from Will Ferrell, I think he's always better as like Mugatu in Zoolander in a secondary role. But that's just my 10-cent take on that. And then lastly, Eric Clapton. This comes out on August 22nd. It is 80s and 90s Eric Clapton. Now, I love 80s and 90s Eric Clapton. She's Waiting and stuff like that. Tears in Heaven. Great stuff. It's on a splatter vinyl. It is the best of Eric Clapton from the 80s and 90s, the Clapton Chronicles. And that'll run you about $42 if you're interested. And what did I always say about Eric Clapton records, whether it was Cream, Derek and the Dominoes, or whatever, the Yardbirds? Eric Clapton always sells. He always sells because he's Clapton. So there you go. Very nice. Hey, Ray, how you doing? Ray is, oh my God. Brian, somebody saved me going back to our discussion with on what I screwed that up there. Oop, there it is. Let me show it on the screen here. Somebody saved me. That was fantastic. Okay, there we go. Anyways, okay, so Brian loves Somebody Save Me by Cinderella. I do love that. That is, maybe that's my favorite song, but I had to put Nobody's Fool #1 just because of the snaps, boom, and the just the rock moves in that video are so awesome. There you go. All right, did I miss anything else in the chat? Love me some MLB. I probably made a reference, MLB, Major League Baseball. That's what I'm thinking there. So there you go. Cinderella is so underrated. Gregory Roberts says one of the better bands of that era. I think as time has gone by, people realize how good that record was. Like Jen and I were talking about the other day, Cinderella, really about the blues, man, as where like Extreme, they were so about the funk, man. You put on an Extreme record, you can hear that funk. Pat Badger getting his bass up in there, and he's slapping the bass. He's slapping the bass nice, but yeah. Both great bands that I think have stood the test of time. Thank you, Jen. Major League Baseball. Mother Love Bone, MLB. Now it makes more sense. So Ray says, love me some Major League Baseball. I mean, Mother Love Bone. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, let me keep going here. What do we got? Just a reminder, in case you're watching on Facebook, we're going live on YouTube exclusively starting September 23rd, which I guess is still, 5 weeks away. So just wanted to give you a heads up there really quick. Concerts. Let's get to concerts, then I'll get to my vinyl of the day. God is a Weapon tour. This is Falling in Reverse, one of Casey's favorite bands who used to work in the record store. Very nice. Actually, Casey and Audrey and Sandy are going to be coming over to the house on Thursday night to hang out a little bit. I should have them do a little video, and then I can run it on Friday's show, right? Say hello to everybody. So there you go. Anyways, Casey's elated to know that Denver, Colorado, that kicked off the tour last night in Denver for Falling in Reverse with Slaughter to Prevail opening. Let's see, they're in Dallas tomorrow night and then Phoenix on September 24th. So I'm guessing Casey has that marked on her calendar. So there you go. All right. What else as far as tours? Papa Roach. Well, there's another band that Casey loved. Now, this tour was kind of broken up into two sections. There's the March section, which in April, which has already been gone. Now, September, they start on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast or if you're in the middle of the country and then down in Florida, you got a chance to see Papa Roach and Rise Against on the same bill, which I think is pretty cool in my humble opinion. So there you go. LA Guns, little 80s love here, baby. The Lucky MFer tour continues. I love the name of the tour. I still love LA Guns, man. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. I apologize. Electric Gypsy is such a good song. It could have been on Appetite for Destruction. Oh yeah, that record right there. Let's see. They're in Illinois, North Carolina, and Indiana coming up in August and then into October. So if you're a lucky MFer and you want to go see some LA Guns, boom, Tracy Guns and Company still doing it up nice and sexy. Then I wanted to mention this because I thought it was fun. Not a lot of concert announcements today, but the Chiller Convention, October 24th and 25th in Parsippany, New Jersey, is going to have not only Vinnie Vincent, and Jen owns a couple of OG Vinnie Vincent records, so we got that going for her. She was a big Mark Slaughter fan. Of course, Mark Slaughter was in Vinnie Vincent. Dana Strum was in Vinnie Vincent, and then those guys left to start Slaughter. So it works out well. But Huey Lewis, of course, Huey Lewis, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because the voters in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are stupid. I'm sorry. It's true. You're stupid. What else can I say? Let me help you not be stupid. Let me raise that IQ from 45 up to at least 62, maybe. Maybe I could do that for you. Maybe it would lower it, though, if I was on the team. Who knows? Anyways, Huey Lewis is going to be there as well. And I love the poster because they've got they've got Huey Lewis from Back to the Future on there. I'm sorry, you're just too darn loud with the megaphone there. So anyways, but yeah, Huey Lewis, that would be another band, one final performance. But of course, Huey's had some health problems as well. That would be amazing. So, and then Vinnie Vincent, I don't know what's going on there. Vinny has always been Vinny, and we'll leave it at that. He's having himself a good time all of the time, apparently. So not too shabby. All right. Hi, there I am. Let me get to, oh yeah. So if you're digging the show and you've come this far, like Red and Andy in Shawshank Redemption, and you want to go a little further, like to say Wataneo, cross the border in Fort Hancock, Texas, boom. I'd appreciate it if you'd smash the like button. If you're really digging the show, well, of course, I'd ask. I'm sure you've already subscribed, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then if you're really digging the show and you're like, I should tell some friends about this because rock and roll is here to stay. At least we're trying to bring it back. And that's Jerry. That is Jerry the dog. We've had Jerry the parrot. And then I think Jerry the giraffe didn't make an appearance today. So, but whatever. All these animals are named Jerry for some reason because I just love the name Jerry. So that's when I go to drive-thrus, they ask me, and can I get a name? And I'm like, Jerry. Or I'll sometimes use Kanye. Though Kanye is kind of falling out of favor here recently. But the kids love it when you say Kanye. So, and the old people, I just don't care. Nobody cares about Jerry, but Kanye's fun. So there you go. All right, cool. Vinyl of the day. Oh, yes, my vinyl of the day. Let it be true. This is an OG copy. Now, this isn't the censored copy. Only cool kids like my friend Gregory in Texas grab the OG copies of that. But this is still in the shrink. It is a club edition from BMG. And it is a really nice copy in Jen and my collection. What's this thing? What's an OG copy of Guns worth? Maybe, depending on where you the condition, anywhere from probably $40 to $100, even without the band cover. If you do have a band cover, then forget about it, man. You're paying a pretty penny for that bad boy. But yeah, that's the thing. An epic album, one of the greatest of all time. I was thinking I should do like a greatest debut albums in the 80s, because there's a lot of good debut albums that came out in the 80s, in my humble opinion. Obviously, that one's probably number one. Tomorrow on the show, I'm going to do best 80s guitarists. Now, I'm trying to determine whether that your first album had to have come out in the 80s, which pretty much just ends Eddie Van Halen, because Eddie Van Halen is the only guy that really matters when it comes to 80s guitar in the big scheme of things. But that first Van Halen record came out in 78. So to make it a little more interesting, I'm probably going to be, you had to have put your first record out in the 80s to be an 80s guitarist. So Trent Reznor, if he wanted to be on the list, because Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails are an 80s band. They came out in 89 with the first record. I like to tease a buddy about that because he loves himself some Nine Inch Nails and he doesn't appreciate 80s rock. So I always tease him that Nine Inch Nails is an 80s band. So there you go. But yeah, Guns N' Roses. So what's going to happen here? So we are 2 years away from, July 21st, it was the 38th anniversary of Appetite. We are 2 years out on the 40th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction. Guns N' Roses last played in the U.S. In Southern California at the end of 2023. So it's been almost 2 years. They've kind of they took a year off. They're doing some stuff in Europe now. I think they're doing some stuff in Australia and Japan, places like that. So I'm guessing we're going to get an announcement potentially of a maybe celebrating Appetite tour starting next year in 2026. And then I'm guessing we're going to get all kinds of good stuff. Probably Appetite for Destruction on gold vinyl from Walmart but anyways, that aside, I'm guessing we're going to get some really cool reissue stuff. Will we ever get a new record from Guns? I wish we would, because I don't have a problem with Chinese democracy. I know some people do, but I don't have a problem with it. And Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 are fabulous. And then, of course, Guns N' Roses. I was watching something on YouTube about the most problematic songs in the history of music, quote unquote. And Guns N' Roses was like number 3 on the list with 1 in a Million. Now, if you know that song, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into it, but that was a song, man. And so GNR Lies, I don't think that's ever going to get reissued, but it may be reissued as like a box set. That would be really cool, like a career-spanning box set of Guns N' Roses if they're not going to put out another record. Anyways, I digress. So there you go. All right, let's go back here. Let's check the chat, see if I missed anything. That's not what I was trying to do. There we go. Cool. All right, let's see. Let me scroll back up. Got my LA Guns debut from you, Mal. Spin it off. And very nice, Gregory. Love it. I love to hear that. Hi, everyone. I'm late, but here, Herver's hanging out with us tonight. That is super awesome. Richard says, we got Tom Kiefer and LA Guns here in Tucson in September. Oh, yeah, that's right. Very nice. That's a killer lineup, man. And Tom Kiefer is so damn good. Love Tom Kiefer. Let's see. Beat After Beat, saying hello to Herver. Beat After Beat. One of our regulars. Love Beat After Beat. Just learned you can smash the button on Facebook too. Oh, very nice, Jen. I appreciate that. Herver also happy about the Mother Love Bone repress. That is super cool. Gregory says, I have 5 copies of Appetite. I see one, I buy it. So do you have the Japanese press? Do you have a European press with the uncensored cover and the uncensored sleeve? Wait, so you got Japanese, European press, uncensored, and I'm trying to think, and uncensored and uncensored sleeve. Then you've got the US uncensored cover, but with the censored sleeve. And then you've got a club edition of like the one Jen and I have. And then you also have an OG, probably in like a Guns N' Roses box set, the Appetite for Destruction box set. That's my fearless prediction, Greg, on your 5 copies potentially. So there you go. All right, let's see. I don't think anyone can see me in the chat. I've been here from the beginning. I must be shadow banned. No, we can see you beat after beat. Not sure what's going on there, but I've been talking to everyone. Sorry about that. So, but yeah, I didn't see your chats initially, but now I'm seeing them. So I saw them initially, and then you kind of disappeared, and then now you're back. So very nice, cool. And of course, I got my illusions from you too. Oh, very nice, very nice. There you go. Very cool. All right, cool. That's it. All right, let me go over here, wrap up the show. So I appreciate you hanging out with me on the show tonight. We're live every Monday through Friday, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. Wait, reverse that. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific. And we talk rock music. We talk about some new stuff. We talk a lot about basically some 70s, a lot of 80s. I love pop music in the 80s because pop music in the 80s was actually pretty good. And then I love new wave, In Excess, Duran, stuff like that. But then I love Metallica, Megadeth, all that stuff. All that stuff when I was growing up, man, was just so dynamite. 90s stuff was really good. I know people like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, a little bit sketch on that. At least some of us 80s people are. But come on, Stone Temple Pilots And then you got Tool coming on the scene. You got so many great bands appearing in the 90s. The Megadeth records were amazing then, and then in the 2000s, pretty good there too. My Chemical Romance, The Killers. Jen and I were just digging on those two bands recently, as My Chemical Romance just started their stadium tour, and they finished. And when they played New Jersey this past weekend, they did "Living on a Prayer." No, not "Living on a Prayer." Yeah, it was "Living on a Prayer." So that was kind of cool. Paying a little homage to John Bon Jovi, Richie, and the rest of the guys there in Bon Jovi, or what's left of Bon Jovi at this point. And then, yeah, anytime I can talk about modern and new vinyl, I'm into it as well. So there you go. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else I want to mention other than, yeah, we're here every Monday through Friday. It's Rock This Town Live. And yeah, I guess we'll go from there. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat that I want to mention. Let's see. Gregory says, oh, he's giving me the update. Very nice. I like this. This is good. Sealed robot cover. I don't know what that means. Original cover? I don't know. Maybe that's what you mean. 87 US cross. Oh, nice. Yes. Okay. 288 US cross and the Target red vinyl. Would love a Japanese press. And the Japanese stuff, that's buku de niro, or buku, what's the Japanese? Yen. It's buku yen. So there you go. Cool. All right. Beat after beat. Gregory, Herver, Richard, Jen, and Raymond, and everybody else hanging out with us. Brian tonight, among others. It was so cool. Brandon stopped by as well. Appreciate you hanging out. Of course, if you missed the show, you can rewind and watch anytime you want on Facebook or on YouTube. And then the podcast is available. There's a podcast version of this one. Very nice, where you can check it out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And there you go. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow, remember, if you have a favorite 80s guitarist, let me know tomorrow night, because the guitarist would have had to have put out their first official record. So like Jake E. Lee would be a 80s guitarist, Warren DeMartini, George Lynch, but Eddie Van Halen, unfortunately, would not qualify for that list, even though Eddie, come on, he's at the top of the list, of every list, in my humble opinion. Nuno Bettencourt. So many good guitarists back then. So anyways, I'll see you tomorrow night. Have yourself a wonderful Monday night. Football's back, sort of. We're 3 weeks away from start of the NFL season, so looking forward to that. Go to my Vikings, who will probably miss the playoffs this year, because every other year they have a bad year. So, but I digress. That's it. Take care, everyone. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and I'll see you in the emergency room. The